Time. Good evening and welcome to another episode of The Couch Show.
So formal.
Right?
So formal. It's the couch show. I thought
I
it was
mean,
going to be all laid
it's
back.
our 100th episode.
It is.
100.
100 in, and we still don't have a topic. We still don't have a topic.
Good evening and welcome.
That is
So,
cool.
if you're new to the channel, welcome. We're your hosts. I'm Lynn. This is Ray. And welcome to the channel, Sibling Rivalry.
Where we hit the heart. We ask the hard-hitting questions on the red couch, the blue couch. I just noticed that. I just had to go with it. I was like, yo, why we got like loud couches? Where's the
That's crazy. We're definitely related.
Yeah, what happened to like the old like brown couches?
What happened to like the old couches where it was all like floral print and stuff, like
with plastic on it, like what grandma had?
Yep. You know what I'm talking
or like
about.
90% of people have the leather black couch. Yeah, we should have went with those.
I mean, in my defense, originally my couch was beige. It was like a cream color, you know?
Was it? I thought it was like a greenish color.
Nah, it was like a beige. It was definitely a light color, a cream. And then after a few years, it just looked really rough. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to paint it. So I was inspired by a Pinterest idea. And I went for it. I dragged my couch out back. And I painted it. And at first it was weird. At first it was really weird. You know, it was really crunchy. And like you would feel the couch it's just an awkward feeling. But like, after a few weeks, we kind of like broke it in, and now it's great. It's a normal couch. It's just blue.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever wants their couch crunchy, but that's just me. That's just me. Keep it crispy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was gonna take this show on the road. Well, not on the road. I was gonna go for my walk and just kind of talk and walk with you guys. But I was like, yeah, it's getting dark.
Maybe you're not really having the energy right now either, or you're still, putting your body through a test.
Yeah, I am. I'm still low energy, but I still go for my walks. I still gotta go. You know. As for guidance through nature, nature's dope, man. I love just getting connected with nature and, kind of like recharging the batteries.
Certainly, that's why I love the warmer weather, and it's nice that. This time of the year when the warm weather starts setting in, and it's inviting, it's inviting you to come out of your home. I was actually really cold in my house earlier, and so I went outside to warm up.
Yeah, because our houses are still like, it's funny because our in the house it's more cold than outside because it's still it's still climatizing, it's adjusting the temp and all that. Unless you open your doors and windows, and then of course bugs come in. Man, my gopher that I have outside, this thing is getting a little daring. The other day, I just saw him standing up on his like hind legs, and he's just like posturing and shit. This morning, I come out, make my coffee. Mm-hmm. The little shit's like sunbathing on my deck.
I was like, on your deck? What the hell?
On the deck, and then I go and I open the door to scare him. He runs off, right? I step outside, I start whistling and stuff, and I go back inside, and sure enough, the little shit comes running back up the stairs. I'm like, do I should I Last year it was like a whole family, and I was like, I should have like got somebody to like, come out, capture them, and all that, bring them to like wildlife, whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking about it this year too, but I'm like, should I just go like get carrots and have this thing as my pet? Like, just have a pet gopher? That'd be kind of cool.
So I hear they're like really bad for homeowners, like because they dig so many holes and stuff.
Apparently, but he's under the shed right now,
Mhm.
and yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why my house is sinking. I don't know.
It's just like a bunch of like mines all connected underneath your home.
It could be, could be. The other day I pulled in, he was in the front too. I was like, yo,
Yo,
this
he's
getting
just taking
Darren.
over. He's
He
like, this is my
is. He's
house.
taking over. I'm gonna have to capture his ass. Really
Jeez.
am. But
Man,
yeah, it's Thursday.
my
We
cats
got
would
the
definitely
weekend
take him
coming
out.
up. No, I don't want that. He's a big fat
Yeah, my
fuck.
cats would. My
I
cat,
should take a
most
picture of
recently,
him
he
and
caught
send it to you.
a rat. I don't know where the hell he got this rat from. This thing was huge. Like I
That's
saw it
crazy.
dead there, and I was like, no way. And sure enough, it was a rat. Like usually they bring
I don't
like
know.
field mice and stuff, but like a rat? Where the hell did they hunt that?
This
Like,
guy's big. The next time I see him, I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you so you can see it. You're like, whoa, shit.
that's so funny. I love the way they run. Those like gophers, like they just kind of like waddle back and forth as they're running. They're pretty
They
quick
do.
too.
Yeah, they are quick, but they're little fat little things, and just the way they run it, it's hilarious. I don't know if they could see because it's like their eyes are really weird.
Hmm.
Because like I open the door, and he's like, but I don't even know if he was like, and I'm standing like right there. I'm like, is he not looking at me? I'm like, I think they see like sideways or something. I don't know,
Hmm.
but every time he sticks his head out the hole, he's all like, and I'm like, dude, why are you like I don't know. He just looks weird, but
Dude, what's the
yeah.
rabbit's name that used to get into like the neighbor's garden all the time? What's his name?
Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit? That's who you have. You have Pedro. Pedro Gopher.
Can it start with a G like Greg the Gopher, Peter Rabbit? Like,
No.
come on, follow along, pay attention.
Peter.
You know, Peter Rabbit, that's a movie. That's like there's two movies out there.
Hmm.
Like, haven't you taken the kids to see that?
He's a thing. Peter the Rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
No, you know what? I think we just saw one of them, but it was like once it came to streaming, you know. We don't really go to
yeah,
the movies.
yeah, it's like part one and part two.
So my kids had dental appointments this morning, and every time we go in there, our dentist office has Disney Plus. So my oldest went in first, and they were like, "Oh, what do you want on TV?" I was like, "Oh, you should watch, Guardians of the Galaxy, so you can go see the new one in the movie theater." And like the hygienist thought that was a great idea, but my oldest was like, "Nah, I want to see the first Iron Man." So that's what we were watching this morning, the first Iron Man. I was like, "Yo, we took it back."
Instead of watching Guardians of the Galaxy, what's
No,
wrong with
we
these
saw.
kids, man?
Nope, nope.
They don't follow along. It's like, yo, I can take you guys to the movies, and like, nah, nope, I'm good.
Nope. They weren't about it.
I'm ready to go to as it starts to warm up, I'm ready to go to the drive-in again.
Ooh,
I like
little
going to
double
drive-in because
feature.
you do like double features, yeah,
Yep.
and you can get like all the snacks there, and since I have a truck, I park the truck backwards towards the screen, and we just sit in the back, and
Yep.
then you're supposed to put the radio station for the audio, so my
Hmm.
truck lets you put the audio in the truck bed. So it's like we
That's
got
dope.
surround sound as we're watching it. It's like it's cool. I like it. It's fun.
That's pretty
But yeah,
cool.
man, I'm really ready for summer. And it's funny because like when I was younger, I didn't like summer. I used to love winter.
Hmm.
But now it's like because winter, as a kid, winter you get snow days.
Right.
So that's what I was like, yo, snow days. I hate school. Still hate school. School's so stupid. It's overrated. But I say that and people look at me like I'm crazy. But it's like if you look around, there's so many ways to make money. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Um, I just earlier today, I sent an email to Fuzz because Fuzz was working on his cloud securities. He was going for the Microsoft certs, right? Shout out to
Yes.
Fuzz. Hope you're still on it. The link that I sent them was for the AWS ones, where they will pay for you to go through the whole training, and then they'll do a job placement for you afterwards. You
Mm.
just have to be willing to give a 2-year commitment
Mm.
for like whatever job, because I guess the job is sponsoring it. right? So whatever job they place you, you got to at least work there for 2 years. Which I heard this, I heard this years ago when it came to like nursing. I knew there was like nursing schools that would, you know, um, you could go to the nursing school for a free ride, and then afterwards, the local hospital, or whatever, you would go and work there, and then that's how you would pay back your uh, your tuition, which
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. It's a
Yeah.
great idea, and the fact that Amazon actually has this, it's like, and it's actually called Restart, so it's like re/start AWS re/start, and it's for anybody who has a college degree.
Hmm.
That's one of the prerequisites is you got to have a college degree. However, you just really all you have to do is just have that ambition to want to jumpstart your life, right? So it's like,
Hmm.
let's say you took a college degree, which once again, a lot of people do this. They get a college degree. It's a dead end road, right?
Yeah.
They got a gender studies or something stupid that they can't do it, make ends meet. They can't do anything with their lives. And then guess what they have to go into? They got to go into a tech field where they can make a shit ton of money, right?
Hmm.
So this is why I say, and I so heartily say, school's overrated, college is overrated. It's actually at this point, it's just ridiculous. Like if you do a cost benefit analysis, right, pros and cons, the cons heavily outweigh the pros, and it's cool because you know, and I was just looking at it. I was like, man, it is like a second opportunity for anybody who wants to like just change their lives, right? Like, let's say you
Yeah.
just dead end job and you want to change your life, and it's just amazing, you know, the day and age that we're living in, where a lot of people are out here like, oh, there's no hope, but there is hope. Once again, I keep saying this, like I live in a completely different world. Like I keep finding these things, and it's like motivates me. Like I'm not gonna do it, right?
Hmm.
Because it's like I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, but like just find this, and I'm like, yo, this is dope as hell, right? Like,
It's
why
a
is more
tremendous
people not talking
opportunity.
about this? Yeah,
Yeah.
really. So yeah, so I sent Fuzz the link. Hopefully, whatever direction Fuzz goes, I'm rooting for him. I keep him in my thoughts and hope that he can, because it's it's there's an abundance out here, right? Like, but you got to be hungry. You gotta want to eat,
Hmm.
right? And so, like, if you're starving, and I say this, metaphorically, right? If you're starving, you just gotta look around because there's an abundance. You just gotta know how to find it.
Right.
And technology, they call it the STEMs now, like science, technology. What's the
I
engineering
think
and
it's
math,
engineering and math. Hmm.
right? The STEMs. I would totally, if anybody's like, hey, this is what I'm going to college for, I was like, go. That's the only thing, that and medical, in the medical field, of course. Oh, and
Hmm.
finance, because finance, those guys make shit ton of money. But other than that, all these other stuff, all this liberal arts and gender studies and all this other stuff, I don't get it. I'm like, why would you even go there? Um, just to like fight the cause. Like I don't get it. Like, why are you spending so much money? You're not fighting the cause. You give it into the system.
That's just
It's
our societal mentality of like, hey, you finish high school, you go to college. And a lot of people when they're young, they really don't have direction, and unless you really have a mentor, which most young people don't have,
right,
it's hard to decide a path, to choose a path.
right,
So a lot of people fall into the trap of just taking random majors and pursuing
right.
that.
And that's everywhere. That's not just with education. I mean, that's just socially too. Like, I was on, me again, once again on
We
Twitter,
lack our
and
elders, the wisdom from our
we do,
elders.
we do, and that's definitely in like our social culture as well. This is the reason why hookup culture is running rampant. And
Hmm.
like there was a TikTok video where it was a video where it was this white chick. And of course, they had to have a black guy. And I was like, oh, that's kind of messed up. Why they had to have the black guy? Why they had to do him like that, right? But it was like um, getting like getting dressed after sex, right? And so
Hmm.
the woman was doing, she was getting dressed, he was getting dressed, and then it was like he was on his right away. He got on his phone and he was like messaging and all that. And she was like, "Hey, do you want to do something afterwards? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to like kind of grow that connection, right?" And he was
Hmm.
like, "Nah, peace. I got my boys out and I'm going out." And so he just walks out the door.
Oh my
And so,
god.
of course, I made it sound funny, but it was all like the sad music. And like it was trying to be all like a tear jerker. And as soon as like he walked out, she like started like bawling in tears or whatever, supposed to be crying or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But I'm like, once again, I can't feel sorry for you. You're putting yourself in that predicament.
Yeah.
You're not putting any value behind yourself, right? And you know, I like seeing these things because I love reading the comments, right? I
Hmm.
love to see how polarizing the comments
Oh my God, I'm
are.
the same way. I read through the comments. I read through the threads.
Yeah, yeah, because I just want to see either I want to say something and I'll be like, yeah, base, yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about, or
Mhm.
she knows what she's talking about, or honestly, it's a society we live in, and I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I want to get triggered, right?
Mhm.
Oh, excuse
That's-
me, allergies, man.
Yeah.
It's that time of season, man. But I love it because it means the summer's around the corner. But it's like, oh, whew.
Bless.
So I'm reading the comments, right, and I'm like, I want to get triggered, right? I want to get provoked, but um, there was one comment that really stuck out, and he was like, you could tell the people who has a broken soul who are willing to put themselves in this predicament. And I was like, damn,
Hmm.
damn, because it was like me personally, I I never wanted to be part of that world until I was in some shit, right?
Hmm.
Until like I was on my low and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I want to go do this, right? And
Right.
then like I did it and I was like, yo, I don't really like this because you know, oh jeez, you talk because I'm gonna be sneezing for a minute.
There's a
I'm gonna put
third
this
one.
on
That's
mute.
it. It was three.
Yeah, so it was like if you have if you have a broken soul, that's why you're looking and seeking this because there is
Right.
emptiness to this.
And you're also, it's something that shows, especially with women who are more promiscuous, they're looking to use their body and use sex as a way to connect rather than, holding that self-respect a little higher, putting a little more value in it, and looking for that connection before going to that next level. And there is a difference. There's a huge difference. That's why they say, you should know the difference between having sex with someone and making love, because there's a different connection if there's already that established, spark, than if you're just kind of sleeping with whoever. We lost my co-host is gone.
I'm here. I'm
Um,
here. I'm here. I'm listening. I'm
all
listening.
right, good, you're
Go ahead. You're
back.
holding it down. You're holding it down. All
Yep.
right. So yeah, no, yeah, I'm not. I was never really into that. I said it in the previous show. As corny as it sounds, I was always that like wanting to be that hopeless romantic. That's the reason why when you watch rom coms, you feel connected to that, right? Same
Mhm.
reason why like you watch certain movies and if the movie has heart, you feel connected to it, right? Everybody's looking for a family. Everybody's looking for connection. Even in movies with friends, like when their friends are partying, and you feel connected with that because it reminds you of that connection, that fun that you have. And the funniest thing is like I like to go out alone a lot, right? I just like to
Mhm.
just go out. It's like, hey, I gotta go out. Um, my closest friends, they're living a different lifestyle than I am, right? Of course, they're content just being at home and just doing that stuff, and I'm like, nah, I kind of still want to go out, right? So I'll just go out by myself, but most people can't do that. Most people do not have that self confidence in themselves to say, I'm okay with this going out by myself,
Mhm.
right? Most people have to lean on friends and other people to go out and be sociable, right? So it to me, mm, we have a society where we're just hurting. We're hurting all around.
Yes.
And I don't get it. I know there was comments where they were like, "Oh, this is what happens when you push the dad out of the household," and I'm like, no, I don't agree with that either. I
Mhm.
don't agree with that either because when you hear, when we see, there's a lot of things that are going on in society that if people are not held accountable in society, they're not going to do things like how they should, right?
Mhm.
And then when we lose accountability, we lose society, right? When you're not held accountable for your actions, for example, there's this there was another video I saw where people are doing this licking challenge where they're just going into stores, opening up ice cream and licking it and then putting it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so that way people can buy it and they're laughing hysterically. And it was
Right.
like it was two people, and, it was a guy and a girl, and they're laughing hysterically, licking it and then putting it back. And I'm like, this is what happens, once again, this is society without accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy, you can say, oh, there's no dad, there's no dad. Once again, we're trained to blame men or lack of men for this disruption in society. But the reality is we need to get back to where we hold people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
I say it over and over again with this whole body positivity and no, don't body shame people. No, we need to shame people. We
Right.
need to shame people.
Because ultimately,
Like,
is your weight, specifically your weight, is unhealthy.
yeah, the
There's
fact.
there's a weight where we're supposed to be for our bodies to be like at an optimal
Mhm.
capacity, and then there you could be a little chunky, a little bit, but once you get too heavy, it is unhealthy. You are killing yourself.
You are.
Your heart
You
is
are. And that's where
struggling. Your
you're
organs
right.
are all struggling.
And then of course, the arguments be like, well, it's my body, my choice, and
Mhm.
why do you care? It's just me. But the reality is like that's a cost on everybody. That's a cost on
Mhm.
everybody because now we have, medical risk and medical conditions are sky high, right? And it's a shared cost. You may be like, oh, but I don't use, public health. Like, what do you mean it's a shared cost? Well, it's a shared cost even if with your private insurance, because now all these conditions are going up, and everybody's insurance across the board is starting to go up
Mhm.
because now we have more ailments, right? We have more medical conditions. So it's like we gotta address all of this, and this all ties all in together. Every problem that you see, you could blame it on just the lack of accountability in society. It really is. So going back to that TikTok video of like the hookup culture, like I don't feel bad for her. I really don't. She
Mhm.
chose that. She chose to put her in that scenario. The first time you put yourself in that scenario and you felt like shit, why would you go do it again?
Mm.
Because you wanted that instant gratification, that physical
Mhm.
gratification, and then you felt like shit afterwards because you thought, oh, maybe this time he'll be different. It's like hold yourself accountable. Don't put yourself in that situation again.
Mhm.
And then once again, if we had society where it would be like, yo, girl, why are you doing that? The only people who hold the women accountable is women. The
Mhm.
same way the only people who hold men accountable is men, right? Right? Men in your circle of men, when you're slacking or you're not doing what you need to do, we're gonna some people call it hazing, right? Some people are like, oh, why you guys talk to each other like that? You can't talk to each other like that. But the reality is that's how men hold men accountable, right?
Mhm.
Like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you acting like this? Why, man up. That's the biggest one, right? Man up. And
Yeah.
then you know what? If he wants to hear it, he's gonna hear it, and he's gonna start changing. He's gonna start doing the things he needs to do. But I mean, this is what happens. This is what we're living in the day and age where um, no matter what you do, you're going to get applauded for it, right?
Mhm.
Participation trophy. So that's where we are. So I don't know. It would try to be a sad video, but I wasn't feeling it. I was like, because like I said, fool me once, shame on you, right? Fool
Mhm.
me twice, shame on me.
Fool me, ain't gonna get fooled again. Okay. Did anybody else understand the reference? Please put it in the comments if you understood the reference.
You have some of the most craziest reference, I swear.
It's from a song. That's lyrics from a song.
Oh my goodness, my light just died on me. All right,
Oh
I have to fix this over.
no.
All
Yeah.
right,
So
so
I
that was
mean,
my rant.
what are some ways that we could hold ourselves accountable? Like because we have since our circles aren't holding us accountable. What can we do? What are some actionable things we can do to hold ourselves accountable?
Yeah, put it in the comments because that's a good one. That is a good one. Put it in the comments and well, you go. You asked the question. What's your answer?
Well, I'm asking the question because I don't have an answer.
Like, how do we held ourselves accountable?
Honestly, holding yourself accountable is one of the most difficult things that we we do in life. You know, it's so hard, at least I don't know, for my brain it is. It's hard to remain disciplined, you know? It's that it goes back to that trustworthiness. Like, are you doing what you're supposed to do when no one's looking?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like who are you um showing up as your best self for? You have to learn to
Oh
do that
boy,
for yourself rather than, oh, you know, like I'm gonna be my best self when I'm at work because my peers are judging me, or I'm gonna be my best self
exactly.
when I'm
And
around
that
family because my family is judging me.
I
No, what are
love
you
I
gonna
love that
do
you
when you're
said
by
that.
yourself?
I love that you said work, because once again, work and the way we have our the current system, it, for what it is, that's the only thing that actually still has accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you have your peers, right? You have your manager, who are will hold you accountable, right? Your peers are gonna not want to work with you, or they're gonna rat you out, saying, "Hey, he's slacking," or whatever, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Your manager has to do your annual review. Sometimes they companies do peer review, where peers got to review you too. And when you do good work, you get rewarded, and when you don't do good work, you get punished as well, right? You can get written up in the company. You may not even get you may get a bad performance review, where you don't get your raise for the year, right? So it's if you think about how work works, right? Like, we should apply that model to everything else, but we don't. We
Mm-hmm.
don't. And so, going back to your question, as far as how do we hold ourselves accountable, like myself, honestly, um, shit, for the longest time, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was guilty of what I'm talking about, where I was just like, yo, I'm just gonna go with whatever I can, because
Right.
right, that's my freedom. And it wasn't until I started going on the spiritual journey and the spiritual awakening, where that's how I started holding myself accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's giving me the strength right now to go through this fast. Day
Mm-hmm.
11, and out of what, 11 days, I've only eaten once.
Mm-hmm.
One day, one day.
Wow.
So, and then my next goal is to eat. I went last Sunday, right? Because once again, my spiritual journey. I talked, and I said, I don't, I'm not feeling too good. What should I do? And it came to me like, well, the Lord had a day of rest Sunday, so why can't you have a day of rest? And so Sunday is my day of rest. So this Sunday, Mother's Day, we're gonna eat. Lynn said
Mm-hmm.
it already. She said, yeah, it's nice. She got tons of protein. Get some
Yep.
more. Get some burgers. Get some sausage. Get some hot dogs. Get it all. Because yeah, I'm gonna bring that appetite. But I feel good. I feel good. I may have that low energy. I'm not my super energetic self, but I still do things. Like, I still go on my walk.
Mm-hmm.
Today I went to the gym. I worked out. When my little guy's here, and we're watching wrestling, and he snucks up and he tries to put me in a chokehold. I'll slam him around and the rest of the little shit. But
Mm. You know, I think in keeping yourself accountable, you know, holding yourself accountable, you have to, you know, first define what, um, you know, your expectations are. What are your expectations of yourself? What do you, you know, aim to accomplish day to day? What do you, what's gonna help you go to bed feeling fulfilled? You have to define those things. You have to have a clear picture of what it is that you expect of yourself before you can hold yourself to that standard.
yes, and you have to be realistic too. You got to understand
Mhm,
that if you're going to take on something new, you're going to fail.
mhm,
You're going to fail, and it's okay to fall. It's not okay to stay on the ground and cry, right?
right.
It's okay to fall. Just get back up and try again. Don't quit, right? Don't cry. Don't have a freaking meltdown. Don't have all this. Which, I gotta say this nowadays, because we are a society that's soft. I hate to say it, but we are soft. We're weak. Good times make weak people.
Mhm,
So we've had years, decades of good times, and we are weak. As people, we are weak. And so the second we try to do something hard, we're gonna quit. Why? Because we don't have to do this. I go back to all my instant gratifications, my video games, my fast food, my endless sex, my what else? Drinking, partying, drugs. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the list goes on. So it's like you try something, you're gonna make mistakes. So you got to give yourself little goals. Lynn says this all the time, little goals,
Yep.
right? And so I was trying to go, the full 30 days. And this is where, I got that clarity was like, you're looking at the end goal and it's going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about it like day one, day two. Oh my God, I got 30 more days. I got 30 more days. Well,
Right.
now if I go week to week, before you know it, this is going to become a habit. And who knows? Maybe I don't go, I go past 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
I go 2 months or something like that. Who knows?
Yes. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel, Sibling Rivalry. Ray and I are discussing, holding yourself accountable. If you're jumping in now, join in the conversation. Throw something in the chat, in the text, and yeah, join the conversation. Holding ourselves accountable. There we go. That's our episode's key
I think
takeaway.
we have that title like so many times. I've seen it so many times in so many episodes. It's like, but I think honestly, like I see these channels and the channels that are, they have a following that are growing and are growing organically. They do tend to repeat themselves. So,
They do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those topics that are kind of repeating themselves and continue to come up, that's where our passions lie. That's where our knowledge base is. And
mhm,
that's what's going to attract our tribe.
hopefully
Yeah,
grow
the
this
people who
thing.
want to have these
Power of
conversations.
positivity, right? I want. That's what I really want. Like I know, people are like, "Oh, why are you doing this for the money?" And like, nah, really, I want to find like-minded people, and I just
Hmm.
want to know that us just shit, sitting here shooting the shit inspires people. I love
Right.
that, man. I love that. Just us, just talking here live on YouTube, and somebody could hear our word, or what we're saying, and just something we say could click, right? Right? Could click and spark that revolution, right?
Hmm.
Be it in themselves, just go and want to do something different with their lives. And I love that it's on YouTube because this is like international. So we can have somebody over and like, across the world who's just watching us, right? Couldn't fall asleep. It was like scrolling on their phone, found us, and then something we said, just one little word, just put that spark.
Yep.
Especially when there's a lot of YouTube channels on here. Listen, if we really wanted to make money on YouTube, we could easily do it with hate,
Hmm.
right? We could easily do it with hate because hate pays. Hate is the reason why we have such, divisiveness in America right now because all these tabloids and all these news channels found out that if they put the buzz headline, right, and talked about certain topics, they would get the hits and they would get the
Yep.
clicks. So that's the reason why we have such polarizing topics because they know that it's going to spark something. Like I said earlier, I was searching through the comments, looking
Hmm.
to get triggered,
Triggered.
right? So I could I was looking for that emotion. That's something I got to fix myself too. But I know that if we wanted to do that, we could just do trigger titles and trigger words and talk
Hmm.
about certain things, and we're going to get a massive following. But that's not who I want to be. That's not who Lynn wants to be. We've always had that touch of kindness, right? That
Hmm.
touch of wanting to help. And so that's, hopefully that's what we can grow. Like Lynn said, grow our tribe. That's inspiring. I want to do that. How do we do that, Lynn? Let's figure this shit out. Does
That's what we're doing. We're doing it every Wednesday and Thursday night, 8 p.m. That's what we're doing.
it feel weird doing two shows back to back though?
Yeah, it does. It really does. I was like,
Right? Like I
oh, like
felt
what are we
like we
gonna talk
don't
about
really have a
today? We were
different
just live
right.
yesterday.
Like what new topics in like
Yep.
24 hours. But there's people who do daily shows like this. So, there's all the news. There's always news, right? There's always news.
Well, let's go to our news segment. What's going on in the world today, right?
So last night, good old Donnie Trump went on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
And
On
today is
CNN? They put him on
they put him on CNN and he dominated. Like what
CNN?
I've seen, he was on there for 2 hours. I mean, he dominated the the host. right? The host of it. And oh my God, the outrage. That's the outrage afterwards. I mean, even Biden put out a clip on Twitter where he took, once again taking out of
The
context what Trump
context, yep.
said and then putting the, footage underneath and the edits and all that. And but CNN is in a panic mode right now because CNN leans heavily on the left, right?
Hmm.
And so I think they either pulled the town hall or they chopped it up, like they cut it in half or something like that. So something, something Trump said triggered them, and now they're all going ape shit. And this is like, to me, it's just like it's 2020 all over. It's 2016 all over. I'm like,
Hmm.
I love Trump, and I'll probably vote for him. But in a way, I kind of want this chapter to be closed, right? For us to keep moving forward. But my fear is like, how do we, are we going to move forward, or are we going to get like another Biden that just put us like so many years backwards?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. But inflation is going down. Stocks are going up. Crypto's crashing. I don't know how that works because I thought crypto was going to go up too. I'm
Hmm.
buying things and I'm like, damn, I should have waited.
Right. Yep, that always burns. That always burns. Like, wait a minute. I thought now was the time to buy. But
Hmm.
you know what? Every kind of investment you make, you have to think about it as like money spent. Like
You always think
if
of the
you're putting
returns.
your final pennies into an investment, like I don't know,
Yes.
man, you're playing with fire. You can't do that. So for me, anything I invest, it's like I said, it's money spent, and if I make money off of it, woohoo! I'm in my happy place,
Yes.
But there are
But
crashes. You lose money. You lose money.
I will
Lots of
tell you this, you're better off investing than saving.
it. Hmm.
And I know like people are gonna look at me like, oh, you're crazy. You could lose it, and then saving it. At least you have a nest egg, and you have something to fall back on, and you could be the bank. I've heard it all before, but you won't go nowhere,
Hmm.
and you will still be shackled, right? You will still be a modern day slave to the system. If you want true freedom, it's not freedom of speech, it's not freedom of religion, it's not freedom of all those things that they want to tell us. It's financial freedom. That's true freedom.
Hmm.
Financial freedom. And then of course when you get FU money, that's when you can change the game.
Hmm.
But financial freedom is true freedom. Other than that, you're just a slave to the system.
So I recently read The Richest Man in Babylon,
Mm.
and I just finished it. And it's just over and over again, it's just teaching you lessons about how to get your money to work for you, how
Yes.
you find that financial freedom, and it helps
Mm-hmm.
you change your mentality of what you choose to do with your money too.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a book I recommend, a good read. It's an easy read. Richest Man in Babylon.
Another good book, and I read it years ago. Actually, I read it like twice in the past because there's so much wisdom in it, and I would always tell people, to read it and then go back to it because there's other stuff you can learn, retrain your brain, and then you can also tell your kids these things, which
Hmm.
is Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a really good book, and the other one is also Millionaire Next Door to kind of change your mindset as far as like the things we spend on, the things like we believe, because it's all belief. It's all belief. You could easily be rich,
Yeah.
it's just you got to change your belief and you got to put in the dedication. You got to put in the work, of course. But you know, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he is all the time on Twitter, and he one of his posts was the poor dad will tell you to go to college.
Hmm.
The rich dad's going to tell you to make a create a business.
Right.
And like my little dude said that the other day, and I was so proud because I didn't tell him that, and I was like, if I'm telling you that college is overrated, and you can't go to college or don't go to college, what to do. I got to give you an alternative, right?
Right.
And he was like, yeah, the alternative is have start a business, and I was like, damn, but how? What are we gonna do? What our business gonna be?
Episode
Hey, yo,
100 of the most underrated podcast on YouTube, and Drunk is here. Says a little late, but that's all right. Better late than never.
celebrate.
Welcome,
Drunk,
welcome, welcome, and thank
Drunk,
you.
take a
Thank you so
shot
much for your
for us.
support, for the follow, for
Hell yeah.
constantly coming back and engaging with us. I love
Hell
it.
yeah. Hell yeah, I love that, man. I just love that's this is the reason why I want to do this because it's just like when you said grow the tribe, that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see I want to be inspired by you guys, and I want to say things to inspire you guys, and I like it. It's a like that's what we need. We need to build that,
Hmm.
right? And hopefully, you said earlier that we don't have, you know, the leader. We what you said earlier. In a society, we don't have the wisdom, right, of our elders.
Right.
Well, that's us right now. We're getting to that point where we're going to become the elders. So
Hmm.
like, yo, that's where I want to do that. I want to do that tribe and get back to that. I want somebody on here to be the medicine woman, right? It tells me like, yo, right, you sound like you got something. Hey, take this is this in the
Yep.
comments. I'm like,
This
yo,
is
no
the
shit. Let
tea.
me go do that. Like, that's what I want to
Yep.
get back to the way we used to be, when we were in our tribes, because we do have that. We have that in our DNA that's programmed. We have that in our blood. We have that in our souls, right?
Hmm.
That, we were built to be on the move, right? We were built to be nomadic, right? To keep moving all the time, nomads. We're built to like what I'm doing. That's programmed into our bodies. We're
Hmm.
not meant to have meals every single day. We're meant to go long times, right? And eating what? If we can hunt a deer and kill a deer, we eat meat that night, right?
Hmm.
But then what else we have? We're getting like the little things, nuts and
Nuts,
berries
fruit,
off the
berries.
trees, right?
Yep.
Right, and that's what we're scavenging, and then we keep moving, and that's what was programmed into us. We've lost that warrior spirit to be
Hmm.
that fighter, right? Things in nature that we would have to fight against, right? We lost
Yes.
that. That's why there's another thing that they said, like, for men to learn how to fight because that's built into us. We got to embrace violence, right? And so they say that men should go. And one of the biggest things right now is mixed martial arts, right? Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all that, to go out there and do that, because not only do you learn how to fight, but you also build that brotherhood, right?
Hmm.
So
And that's what they say, like for me, it's hard as a mom, but they say, your boys, when you're raising them, you're supposed to let them fight. They, like it's natural
yes,
for them to have that testosterone and want to like clash and like show like brute force. And like as a mom, I'm like, oh, don't hurt yourselves.
right. But you know what though, and that goes back to how, like I was saying, that's how men hold men accountable, in the
But
sense that sometimes we got to slug it out.
hmm.
But once we slug it out, ironically, we could be the best friends afterwards. And that's
Right.
happened to me. Like my bully, like he was my bully back in grade school, and then finally we fought, and now he's one of my best friends to this day.
Hmm.
The art of talking shit, right? We do it now on video games when we're playing video games and all that, but it used to be like, and I saw this, big, big, big time when I was in the Marines, was just the art of talking shit. Like, the Southern white kid would start making fun of me, right? The Puerto Rican from New York, right? And then I'll be like, well, shit, I'm gonna make some jokes about you too. And then he's like, all right, you could dish it, you could take it, all right. And
Right.
then that's where you get that respect. And the one who people didn't respect was the kid who always cried about it, right? The
Right.
kid who couldn't hang, the kid who couldn't kind of read in between the lines and realize that we're just trying to bond.
Hmm.
And that's where we're losing that society. We're catering to those people, right? And no offense if you're like that. You know what? Society hasn't helped you build that thicker skin to be able to take that stuff, and that's probably why you got some problems in your life.
Hmm.
So sometimes you might need a little tough love.
And you know what? We have a lot of that, like in schools, they have like the no bullying policy and they want everyone
Mm-hmm.
to be kind and everyone gets a trophy. But, through that, we build resiliency. We
We
build
do.
that tougher skin, that layer that kind of allows us to laugh about ourselves later down the road.
Right. Think about those sports athletes. The athletes we tend to idolize because they're professional athletes. Do
Hmm.
you think that they got participation trophies? No, they built
Right.
that winning spirit, that competition, that drive, that desire to want to win.
Hmm.
Like you can't neuter that. I don't understand that. Like the soccer games where if they get too many goals, they tell them like they gotta like hold back.
Yeah, chill
To me,
out.
that drives me crazy.
What?
That drives me crazy.
No, let me,
Like, no,
set some goals
let me
here, set
whoop
a
your
higher standard
ass.
for the people to come next.
Right, let me whoop your ass so that you can learn to fight.
Hmm.
Get good. All right, go ahead. Go with the comments. Cause I see your
I
face. I
keep
see your
popping
face.
it
I'm
up thinking
ranting.
you're like
I'm
finished, and you're just like,
ranting.
oh
Go.
man.
Good vibes. Good vibes. We got drunk in
All
the
right,
comments.
yo, I saw episode 100 scheduled, and I was like, I cannot miss that. Then I started cooking, food started burning. Oh my gosh, long story, but I'm here.
Hey,
Man,
you know
John, you need
what?
a good woman
Whatever.
in the kitchen
Hey,
cooking that meal for
do
you,
do you think
making you a sandwich while you wait.
do you think the journey to episode 100 was gonna be easy? No, there had to be cost.
But we're
like
here.
like Thanos, when she was like, did you get what you wanted? He was like, yes. And she was like, what did it cost? And he was like, everything. That's exactly what it takes, man. It takes everything. He's
This
eating his
podcast has
burnt
always
food.
been a place for any type of conversation to happen, and that's a rare place in this world. Yes, and thank you for acknowledging
Thank you,
that, because
drunk man.
that's
With
our
the
goal right
truth
there.
bomb.
That's our mission. I definitely remember being joked about in the 4th grade. Then by 6th grade, I was the jokester. It taught me how
There
to
you
adapt
go.
to my environment. Yep.
Yes. And there you go. And that stems to a lot of stuff. It stems
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of stuff. It's like we said, when you put that goal in front of you and you want to hold yourself accountable, understand that you're gonna fall. Well, how are
Yeah.
you gonna accept falling if you never was, able to fall, or society coddled you from falling?
Mm-hmm.
you know and it's crazy because I'll say things like this, and now they'll have a label like you were like, oh, your boys want to fight, and the saying used to be, boys will be boys, but now they're
Right.
saying that's toxic. You can't say that. They're saying that's toxic masculinity when you say boy, boys will be boys. So
Right.
it's like, but you got to understand the nature. This is the reason why I have my discrepancies with the education system, because they don't cater to how men and women are different,
Mm-hmm.
because there's that lie in our society that says, oh, we're equal, we're the same. Like, no, we're not. We're different. We think differently. We learn differently. Um, Men tend to learn by doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where women can be more book smart, they can read it and they can comprehend it. Men are more hands on. Like, yo, let me tear this apart. Let me figure out how to put it back together,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like that's how men tend to operate. Me, I'm tend to be also a visual learner. That's why I love YouTube. That's why I love going on YouTube and watching videos, because you know I could read something and be like, say what, and then the second I say, oh, like the light bulb comes on, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
easy. Why don't you say that, paper?
And you know what? That also goes hand in hand with a picture's worth 1,000 words. Like, seeing something visually is often it grasps so much more than words can.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. Yeah, no, I really, maybe that should be the, maybe now that we spoke, this episode, it was kind of freestyling, we were just going places with it, but maybe that should be like our outline, and just like our um what's it like our skeleton for this channel. Like, you keep saying, the word you keep using, that's the one that should spark it all. Like, we want to grow our tribe.
Hmm.
So then, like, we got to take it back to that, like, tribal wisdom. Like, that's what it should be. Like, we should really break down one day, go down like what it would be when we were in a tribe, and those are the things we should talk about
Hmm.
and focus and grow that. Because I really do think that there was something there then. That's how we survived then. And it's like,
Yes.
that's what we're lacking today. And the reason why we're lacking is because we're so catered to, and we're so pampered with all our modern everything, right?
Hmm.
Like, even the fact that we were, always looking for shelter, we don't have that today, right? We have homes, and yeah, we need to go get a job, but we know we're all secured. We're secured with food, we're secure with work, we're secure, we're sheltered. Like, we definitely don't, there's something there. There's something there. I feel like that's what we need to focus on.
Yeah. And there was a lot of traditions within tribes with passing down the knowledge, and people who were like the medicine people, the medicine man,
Mm-hmm.
who their area of expertise was that, and they continued in that, and they were able to explore that, and it's something that we're kind of losing. We're kind of becoming a world of just we don't really people don't really like stick to a career anymore. You know, like they usually jump around because they really don't know what they want to do, and we're losing the ability to grow as a society because we don't have that community.
Exactly.
So I think that's a
Exactly.
good idea.
And I think, and then going back to that that medicine person or whatever that field was, that expertise that was
Hmm.
passed down.
Right.
We've lost the whole beauty of the apprenticeship and the mentor and then the journeyman and that whole growth and actually having that even that relationship in itself, that bond. You
Hmm.
know, there are times where I felt that, but it was rare in my career. When I first started consulting, my first when I went in with Booz Allen, the first guy that I was working with at the patent office, he felt like he was, because he was hard on me with work, but then he
Hmm.
was also there for me with life and just wisdom. And that was
Mm.
that first time where I felt like here's the apprentice and here's the teacher, right?
Right.
It's like we lost that. We lost that. We just lost. We're just on a number, right? Employee 58721.
Mm.
All right, so Fuzz has got a question for us.
Yeah, right here. So he has a question. So
Not
as
Fuzz,
brother and
Junk. Sorry,
sister,
Junk. Junk got a question. Hit us up.
do you feel like you hold each other more accountable than you would wait, more accountable than you would another for things y'all do in the separate lives because y'all grew up with each other? I can say on my part, I feel like I hold myself to a higher standard because of you, right? Like there are times where I can't think of a specific example right now, of course not, but like if say I know you're coming over, I'll make sure that I've, done X, Y, or Z because like, oh man, like Ray's gonna say something if I don't, kind of thing.
So you don't do that. You don't do that if your girlfriends come over.
All right, maybe not. That was a bad example. I can't think of anything right now, which is what I'm saying. I can't think of anything specific, but there are things in life that I specifically do with you in the like in my ear. Like I just hear your voice, and I'm just like, shit, I gotta do this because if not, Ray is gonna be like, why the hell didn't you do this? But I don't really feel like I hold you accountable.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Like, what do you think? What do you think you should hold me accountable in?
Mm,
That's a good question. Let's
that
get
is a good
into it.
question. Hmm. I don't
Like,
know.
what should you hold me accountable in?
Hmm.
Because I'm not
Maybe
above
I
criticism.
haven't seen something and that's why I haven't held you accountable. But
No, there's
I just
times.
feel
There's
like,
times where you call me out on things that I do.
yeah.
Yeah, like the most recent one was when you called me out with my youngest. You're like, you know what? He kind of gets away with things.
Hmm.
I mean, I had to tighten up a bit. There's things. It's perspective, right? There's things I'm gonna do on a day-to-day basis where
Hmm.
I'm not seeing, my actions,
Can
and
you
it comes,
shush?
a third party to come out and say that. But
Right.
once again, that goes back to the last episode, or not the last episode, but the episode where we had, where it was like, we need to get back to where people come out and say things like that.
Yeah.
Because most people want to say it, but they feel like, oh, it's taboo, or, society, like they feel they're going to be the ones shunned for calling
Hmm.
out on somebody like, yo, you need to fix yourself, right? So, but going back to Junk's question, giving us you got to give a little more background, a little more context too.
Hmm.
So, at a young age, right, at a very young age for us, Lynn's dad, who was my stepdad, right,
Right.
he passed away when I was in high school. So, like, around that time, that's where I had to step up and become like the patriarch of the family, right? And so that's where I had to be that male. But I wasn't really around. I was in the Marines and all that. So I was that, but from a distance. So I
Hmm.
don't know. And maybe that's what inspired you as far as like what I was doing to inspire you to do the things that you would want to do in your life. But there's some things I told Lynn not to do and she didn't listen. She had to
Hmm.
find out on her own, by making her own mistakes too. So I do think we do need to get back to that though, because families that are like that, like bigger families, we always hear it all the time, the kid who has no siblings, right? And they
Hmm.
have that only child syndrome, right? Where they
Right.
got everything they want and they got catered, they got sheltered, and they didn't get picked on, and they didn't get bullied, and they didn't get any of that, right? And then they go out in the world, and the world sees, a mark, and then they get got, right? Because you walk out there and you're just an instant mark. And so it's like that goes back to what we were talking about, is where like we got to find that tribe, we got to build there, because there's so much to learn in just personal dynamics, and just learning just that social dynamics, right?
Hmm. So a little bit more. He says, so like for example, if Ray makes a mistake in life, Lynn, are you like, Ray, you should have known better, or no? Hmm.
Yes, she'll be there to like she'll have my back. I mean, I lived it.
Hmm.
She'll have my back. No matter whatever I need, she'll be like, oh shit, I gotta go do this. She'll drop whatever she has to do and go, but
Hmm.
she'll be blunt about it and be like, why are you still doing this? Like, why are you doing this? Yeah, yeah. And vice versa. Um, I mean, we've
So,
gotten into
all right, so
arguments.
just I'm just having an issue with one of my siblings where I'm like, hey, we grew up in the same house. How do you not know you shouldn't XYZ?
And then
You
call them
see,
out
and
on it.
that's a good one though, because at that point you are holding each other accountable. You are saying
Right.
like, dude, like we were taught better.
Exactly. That's the biggest one
You're
that we say
slacking.
all the time.
You're
Yeah, that's the
slacking.
biggest one we say all the time, is like, we weren't raised that way.
Right.
Why are you doing certain things like that if we weren't raised like that? You
Mm-hmm.
know, do better. So yeah, and the onus, it sucks because the onus is on you to
Mm-hmm.
call out bad behavior, because this is exactly what we're talking about in this we started the episode with talking about accountability and the lack of it in society. So it's like, yeah, the onus is going to be on you to call out bad behavior,
Mm-hmm.
but you gotta come from a good place, which it sounds like you are, because you
Right.
love your sibling, you know your background and how you guys were raised, right? And so you just got to kind of awaken that. But I know your hesitation, because we live in that society where you're going to be the one shunned for doing that, not
Right.
the other way around.
Right. Not them for their actions, you for calling them out on their actions.
Exactly. You for shaming, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
That's a tough spot to be in.
but
I
we've,
definitely feel like I try hard not to be like, "Oh, I told you so" kind of thing, because there's one thing between like calling somebody out and just like open their eyes to a situation, and being somebody who's just like nagging and like almost like belittling the person because of their mistakes. So, I think it's all about your approach. Where you need to have the mentality of not like, oh my God, I told you this. Why do I have to keep repeating myself? You're such a failure. You have to do it from a more positive perspective of like, dude, you're messing up, but you know better. It's time to turn around. Like you,
right.
like
You got,
I know you better maybe than you know yourself right now, and this isn't you.
yeah, you gotta come from a place of love,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta also come from a place of love when they fail too.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like what Lynn said, she was there in the beginning when she was like, listen, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? But then afterwards, she was like, okay, what did you learn? Right?
Right.
She didn't belittle me. She didn't go hard on me as far as like, I told you so and all that. But she kind of was like, hey, what was the lesson learned?
Mm-hmm.
And then she was just there to listen for when I talk and when I was like, oh, you were right, blah, blah. And just all those conversations, she was there to listen and say, okay, what did you learn? Kind of like what a therapist does. It's exactly what therapists, do. And it's crazy that we actually have school for this, and we have all, these people make so much money, and they got to get a degree and all this, like understanding the mind. It's like, that's not complicated. If you people watch and your social interactions with family and all this, just what we've been talking about this whole episode, you'll understand how people operate, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a level of stubbornness because, that is just by nature, humans are stubborn, right? So we're not gonna want to listen. We're gonna want to do our own thing, but we gotta learn that lesson. And then you gotta also be like, okay, once that you learn that lesson is in there, but we're gonna have that self-doubt, right? We're gonna have that, like, I don't want to believe it. Like, what's the first step when you have a problem or an addiction or anything like that?
You
To
have to
admit
admit
that you
it.
have a problem,
Yeah, you
right?
have to be like, all
To
right, yeah, this
submit,
is an
right?
issue.
To
Yeah.
admit, to admit and submit, right? Because
Yeah.
once you admit it, you may continue saying, well, I know I got a problem. I'm going to keep going down this road. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually submit to the fact that you want to get help, right? So that's all in there. So it's up to you to, one, call it out because your sibling probably knows it, but because nobody's holding them accountable, right? Nobody's calling it out saying, yo, you got a problem. You're messing up.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? And then once they hit rock bottom, you got to be there to, with heart, to pick them up and be like, what did you learn? And
Right.
I'm not saying carry them because there's a lesson to be learned. You gotta ensure that they learn that lesson, right? And that's just by listening to them and letting them talk through around in circles until they get that aha moment and realize, oh yeah, that's how I messed up. You know?
Mm-hmm. And
All right, then
honestly, sometimes
I'll
that's
let
all
you
we
take it.
need is to kind of just like talk our thoughts out loud, and it
Mm-hmm.
helps when there's another person there. It's just like for me, it's a lot easier when I'm talking to somebody. But
Right. Right,
sometimes we
right.
just have to
And
like
that's
process it out loud in order for us to really process what we have to, like learn from whatever the situation is.
right. And that's the reason why like therapy works great because you're like
Mm-hmm.
you say, you're talking to somebody. I talk to myself all the time. And I literally have that conversation. Like, so what did you learn? But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like to me, that's just, that's God just talking through me, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the universe talking to me and saying, okay, what is it that you learned? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna do better, right? But I do that all the time. But I see why people need therapists, and I also see why group therapy works too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see why like AA and NAs and all these meetings work because it's also when you're in a group and you're forced to talk, or not really, they're not really forcing you to talk, but you have that avenue to talk
Yes, you have that
and
platform to have your
you have that
voice.
platform to let it out. And then you're also hearing other people, especially if you're listening, you're hearing that you're not the only one going through this. There's other people going through the struggle too. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not so hard on yourself, right? So like I'm all for support groups. Like support groups, like be it if you're grieving, you're dealing with death. One of the things that really hit me hard was when I watched the Endgame, right? And they had, Captain America was having that support group for people who lost somebody, when Thanos did that, right? And so like to me, that hit home because I was like, yo, that's exactly what, we miss in society. And this goes back to that tribe where like after the hunt or after whatever, maybe something bad happened to the tribe, but afterwards, right, the survivors will what come around the campfire, right, and they would come around and there would be that bonding, right? They
Mm-hmm.
would tell stories. That's where stories came from. There's a
Yes.
reason why Marvel right now, well, it golden Marvel, right? Marvel in the golden age, right? Endgame and all these movies. You said Iron Man. You guys watch Iron Man. Again, there's a reason why these movies resonate so well because this is what we used to have. It's built into our DNA to have those stories. The
Mm-hmm.
stories of grandeur, the stories of that hero's journey that we don't have anymore. We're lacking. We're lacking that in society, and that's why we gravitate towards that. It's the reason why Infinity War and Endgame made what? The first one made 2 billion, and the second one
Buku
made like
money,
3 billion. Hmm?
lots of dinero.
Yeah, buku, yeah, buku dinero.
Yeah. So I'm talking to myself while typing in the chat. I messed up, man. It's just that's who you are. You just have to accept it. Accept it.
All
Yeah,
right, so
it's funny
what
because
do we missing?
like you definitely get it from Ma. Like you and Ma have like full conversations, just out loud, just full blown conversations. Me on the other hand, I'm like I try and work things out like in my mind. I'm very quiet. I listen a lot. I'm not very talkative, but like my mind is just always processing. I just have a more internal, self dialogue.
Not me. I gotta hear it. I gotta talk it. I gotta look at myself in the mirror, especially if I'm driving the car.
Uh-huh.
Like I'll be like jamming to my music, and then I'll like turn off the music and be like, "We gotta talk." Like literally, that's what I'll say, and then I'll go deep into the conversation. But I love it. I love it because that's how that's how my brain works. That's how I process things.
Hmm.
So and it's crazy too because like my youngest, he does that too. I'll hear him. It's fun. He's if he ever watches this, he's gonna get so mad. But he'll be in the bathroom and he'll be handling his business and be having a conversation over there. Or like when he takes a shower, he's talking. I'm like, buddy, who are you talking to? It's like, no one. I'm talking to myself.
Oh, that's awesome though. Like it's and that's okay because like I said, getting that that thought out, being able to process that out loud, it helps, man.
Like it's crazy,
It's so
like
healthy.
it's just like hereditary though. Like so it's like, you see those things and it's just the little things that you like just see, that just gets passed on, right? From generation to generation. So that's why I'm telling you, like a lot of this stuff, it's very tribal. It's very tribal that we were doing this stuff, centuries ago.
Hmm.
When we were that we had our tribe and we were that nomad spirit and we were, just traveling and doing all the things. All that stuff is still in us. It's the reason why people love to travel,
Hmm.
right? People love to go out there and travel, right? It's like there's a calling for that, and so that's why
Hmm.
you can't ignore that no more. You gotta answer. You gotta answer that DNA, that soul, that heart, that what's inside of you. Because if you don't, you're just killing yourself.
Hmm.
You're just denying yourself in this world.
Sometimes I feel like it's not enough space in my mind to fully process a thought.
Yes, that's why I
Mm,
gotta talk. That's why I
right. So I
gotta
have to
open
say it
it
out
up.
loud and process it.
Yes, it's like I'm like, you know what it's like? It's like in my mind, I see everything in there, but it's like a zip file, right? I'm gonna take
Hmm.
it to some tech talk. It's like somebody sent me a zip file, and then I'm like, I gotta like process it and open it up, right? Expand that shit and go through every single file, and I do that verbally. But that's
Hmm.
okay. That's okay. Like at first, I used to think it, but nah, it's like you know what? It's what makes us look. Embrace being weird. Like that's the best thing you can do. Embrace being weird
Right.
because at that point you're gonna have the most like self confidence that you could ever freaking have.
Hmm.
Like if you embrace your weirdness, you can then go out and dance like however your heart content on the middle of the dance floor, and then you're gonna have that confidence. And I guarantee when you have that confidence, people are gonna be like, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna go dance." It happens all the time. Like
The
remember when we
energy is
went to your
contagious.
right when we went to your company's Halloween party, right?
Hmm.
And we ate the food and we had a good time. We were getting drunk and nobody wanted to go. And we were like, "Yo, we're gonna turn this up." By
Let's
the end of the
go.
night, man, it was
Everyone was on the
turned.
dance floor. Yep.
It was turned. That was a good night. That was good times. You need to go back and work there just so we can go back to the parties.
Hell no. So you
All right,
see,
so
you want to
you
know what I remember from that night? Actually, that was a really good night. We had a great night. I do recall that. I remember though, all right, so I am not a confident dancer. Like I've never been one to like dance in front of the mirror. Like I'm just very reserved. I'm very proper. Like I just like I don't know, it's just who I've been all my life. So they formed a circle, and of course, Ray was the first one in the circle, did his thing. Somebody else went in the circle, and Ray's
hype
all like,
man.
"Go ahead, Lane, go ahead." So I go in the circle, and I guess I just like did what the last person did, and you called me out on it. You were like, "Yeah, you don't know what to do, but what you don't do is what the last person did."
I don't remember that. All I
Damn!
remember was getting tipped and having such a good time, yo. I remember
Yep.
like everybody afterwards was like, "Yo, you guys are such a life of the
Yo,
party."
everybody was like, "Man, who's your date? Who's your date?" I'm like, "That's my brother. It's my older brother, you know." Everyone's like, "Your brother's so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, he's all right."
uh, but we do
Yep.
that. We do
I
that
won
at
a pair.
weddings.
I won a pair of sunglasses that night. I think it was like Michael Kors or something. Like
Oh
they would
yeah,
give
that's
out really
right.
nice stuff.
They did have
They did
nice
like
stuff, and
raffles and
and
stuff.
they were giving out wine, beer, like top brand, top shelf. Oh man, I got
Yep.
turned. Good times, good times, good times.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of and you know what? A lot of companies fail to do just that. They fail to create um that sense of community within a business, within the
Mhm.
office. So that was one thing
Yes.
that, my old company is just kudos to them because
Yeah.
every time they had an event, it was, an awesome vibe. It was an awesome group of people. And not only that, it didn't matter what office I would go work at. Everyone had like a similar personality. Everyone had like that type A, like go getter. Like their interview process is so efficient that they seriously just hire a bunch of the same people.
Yeah, and that's one of the qualms I have with like our work mentality here in the States is that like when you see like Europeans or even Spaniards where they embrace going out for lunch and it's a big to do. Like
Hmm.
it's part of work, that bonding. And they'll go to
Right.
lunch for like 2, 3 hours. Like, can you imagine that here? They're like, oh, productivity tanked.
Right.
What are you doing?
But you know
But they
what?
would go.
That's the issue too, though, is that over here we don't try to embrace those kind of things. So I don't think our productivity would tank. I think you would find that, people are more willing to put in, the work while they're there
Mhm.
because they're more motivated. They feel more connected with
Mad
the goal.
inspired. Yeah, mad inspired because that happened to me when I was, once again with booze. And this is why booze sticks out so much to me because they had that internal education to try to talk. They had courses where they would do I would go to the headquarters and it would be like a day course and we were talking about how to effectively communicate, right? How to write better, how to how to talk better, how to deal with certain personalities. Like they actually
Hmm.
did those personality tests, how to deal with an introvert, how to deal with an extrovert, right? And then man, they would always, I remember the one task I was on, we would always go for lunch as a team. And that's where like, we would ask the project manager, like, hey, you think you got expenses? And we would go to a nice restaurant and we would sit and that's where we would bond. And those are the memories like I take, being like that was when, I was a junior consultant. Now they're all long gone. Did their lives. They're, CEOs in this company, that company, that company. And I'm looking at
Hmm.
myself and I'm like, damn. Oh, I remember the nice good lunch and the good afternoon, all that good stuff, doing tapas. That was the first time I ever had tapas. But that's me. I'm about living life. I'm not about
Hmm.
chasing that. I'm not about chasing that because I know that's not gonna make me happy.
Right.
And I hope that they're happy, because they were a great group of people. But who knows? You really don't know. You
I
really
mean,
don't know.
we're all put on this earth for different reasons. I think we all have different end goals with our lifetimes. And
Hmm.
some of us have that drive to just want to, crush the numbers and get all the accolades, where other people, they want to do their
Just want to see the
best
story. Yeah,
in right, but in their own way.
yeah. That's
We
the
can't all
analogy
be a
that
CEO.
Yeah, that's the analogy that I always use. Like, if life is a game, then I'm
Mhm.
gonna play like I play my PlayStation games, right? I see those PlayStation people who want all the trophies, they want the silver, the platinum, all the damn thing, all the 110% of the game completed. Because it's
Mhm.
not just 100. There's like also the like hidden secret things that they'll do, and they'll
Yep.
try to find all that stuff, right? And I'm just for like the lulls and the story. That's it. Like I just want to like, oh yeah, that was fun playing that. That was it. Oh yeah, it was fun doing that. But yeah, we're at the top of the hour, so go ahead and do the intro.
Uh, that's hilarious. I thought you were about to tell me to do the outro. I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you everybody
No,
for
we're
watching.
out. I mean, if you want to, if you want to cut this one,
Actually, it's after 9. Yeah, let's cut this one short. I think I'm gonna go have a couple drinks with my ladies.
hey, there you go. Go do
Mother's
that.
Day weekend. Hey, get it started early.
I'm ready to
Um,
eat. I'm ready to eat. But I'm gonna
it's
save it.
coming. A couple more
I'm gonna wait till
days.
Sunday.
Couple
I'm gonna
more
wait till
days. You're over the
Sunday.
hump. You're over hump day.
Yep. I got
That's
two
it.
more
We're going into
days.
the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, everyone tuning in, either now live while we're here with you, or, if you're catching this show on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you, keep the vibe going. And I really hope that you feel inspired. I hope that, you do take something from our
We got
conversations.
one more comment.
Mhm. Hey! Burr, 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 burr,
And
burr.
sincere gratitude, drunk from the bottom of my heart. It was great because you joined us. We did this together. And I want to give a shout out, 100 episode, give a shout out, to Drunk, Fuzz, to Dashi. Who else? Come on, say some more names, Lynn. Who's everybody else?
Sarah,
Ma.
Mom was on here.
Ma was
Trist.
on here. Trist. Yeah, all the people,
Um,
through this journey as
I know
we,
we're forgetting so many
find
people.
ourselves. Yeah, thank you, thank you so much for just rocking with us, tuning in with us, you know, encouraging us. Because even when we stepped away, you guys were in the comments, guys were in the emails, you guys were just finding ways to be like, yo, where are you? Where you guys at? Where you guys at? To
Mhm.
motivate us to come back, to have that 100th episode. So I want, with sincere, I don't know how else I can convey it. It means a lot to me, from the bottom of my heart with all of it. I wish you all the best as we go through this journey of life. And like Lynn keeps saying, let's build that tribe. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to rock with you guys. As long as you guys rock with us, we're gonna rock with you guys. And I love it when you guys post things in the comments and just feed us and give us, that motivation to keep going, holding us accountable.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank
Love you guys.
you.
Have
We'll
a
see you
great
soon.
weekend, and make sure you show your mom some love. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, don't just send a text or an emoji, Don't send that GIF. Call her. Pick up the phone.
Is it
Pick up
Jif or
the
GIF?
phone. Hello?
It can't be Jif. That's the peanut
Pick up
butter.
the phone. GIF or GIF? How do you say it?